But
Hey everyone, welcome to Barry McGuire's Creative Real Estate Education. Although maybe we should change the name just for Mondays when it's Wayne and Donna Creative Real Estate Education. What do you think?
I don't know. Put it down in the comments below. Let us know
Hi
you're
everyone. Yes, please do let us know you're here. Sometimes I feel like I'm just talking to Wayne, which is lovely. But yeah, okay. We have, hi Kathleen, thank you. Tonight we are doing an investor spotlight with a twist, sort of. That they didn't take our course. They started just with the inspiration of.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, and the whole time he's doing this, I'm thinking to myself, like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. But he did it. And he showed us. But I think we'll kind of get into it. But I think the reason why he was successful is because he actually went and did it, which is kind of the opposite of some people. Some people take the course and then they don't actually go and do it. He's just got both of them. Sahil and Irina, they just got this drive where, they just do whatever it takes and get it done. So I admire that a lot. And they got it all figured out and they got the right education eventually.
Yes, it took a while, but they came around to the right side. Yes. So, So shall we bring them in? Sahil and Irina.
Welcome, guys.
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought you were leading this, Donna.
I'm kind of, but in that passive aggressive way where I was just look at you like you should be saying more things.
I'm clearly not prepared, as you can see in the background and all this mess and everything else. And I just started putting all my equipment together at my desk here just about 10 minutes ago, I was saying. So I'm just in the middle of a move. I am in day 8 or day 7 of my mandatory quarantine. And so it's a little upset right now.
Notice he did set himself up in front of the boxes so you could see how hard he's working.
Yeah.
It's important
how hard I'm not working. Okay. Obviously, you guys overheard us talking about you, and it's amazing. I mean, I was blown away by what you guys were able to accomplish. And I mean, how did you want to run this, Donna? Did you want to just maybe? How about you guys introduce yourself first? Who you are and your background, and then we can kind of get into this amazing deal that you guys put together.
Oh! First, I'll tell you guys. If you see a pen, that means that we have something to say.
Sorry, what cut out? Can you repeat that?
If you see a pen, it means we have something we want to say.
Okay.
So I will start. Sahil and Irina are young parents, and just off camera is a wee little one sleeping very nicely right now. But if one of them disappears suddenly, wee little one is sweetly. And in the background of their screen, you'll see all these different photos of their deal that we'll be talking about. So it's kind of like you get 3 for the price of 1 there if you're paying attention. So
you're gonna have to teach me how to do that so I can get rid of this background.
I charge money for that.
Rightfully so. Okay, let's give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves a little bit more, and so everyone knows who you are.
Sure. As you know, my name is Sahil Sharma. I'm a software engineer by profession, living in Calgary for about 3 years.
And I'm Irina, and currently I'm a full-time stay-home mom, and I'm also a full-time student at the U of C.
Nice. Very cool. When did you guys get into real estate investing?
So 10 months ago.
Yeah, I would say I would say we became accidental landlord when we moved from Regina to Calgary in 2017, but we weren't serious about real estate investing. I would say about 10 months ago, we really wanted to take it to the next level, and we started to look for deals.
Awesome. And so how did that go? How was the first couple of months? Was it difficult? Did you guys just, I mean, you're accidental landlords, like how was the first couple, from the beginning until now?
Yeah, so like since we moved, I always wanted to do something with real estate, but saving up the capital takes a lot of time. So I was watching a lot of Grant Cardone videos, and back in the head, I was thinking, man, one day I'm gonna save just enough money to buy that fourplex I always wanted to be. And then I come across one of the mentors back in July, and we took a professional mentorship course fully.
Nice.
And we learned all about VTB, OPM, but nothing about AFS at the time. So, and that's when we start looking for apartment deals all over Saskatchewan and all over
that
Alberta.
was all over the place.
Yeah.
Right on. And so were you guys struggling with the VTB, or was it just there was no opportunities?
No deals that made sense to us.
Right. So I would say on average, I must be analyzing at least 10 to 20 deals every week. Like I have a realtor pretty much every city in Alberta and Saskatchewan, annoying them, and they were sending us a deal, but very few deals that make sense. And certain deals that does make sense, seller has a very low equity, and all the deals where seller has no equity or very less equity, we were just letting it go because I thought in order for seller to give me a second mortgage, he have to have the equity. AFS wasn't clear at the time. So yeah.
So you guys stumbled into this group in January, I think you said?
Yeah. I believe one of my investor friend who I met in a different group, and she advised that you should check out Barry McGuire's group. And I joined around January-ish. And that's when we start, the AFS term first came in the group, and we start passively learning about AFS through those Monday sessions.
And when did this deal that we're about to talk to come into play?
Around the same time. So
just to remind you of Janet and Roman Seniak and that whole moment where they're in the course and then they realized the light bulb came on and they ran out and they went because they realized the strategy could work. That's amazing. Oh, literally right now, what is AFS? I suppose that, there are lots of new people coming in every week, so we should explain it. Donna?
Okay, agreement for sale is a version of seller financing. It's where the seller will continue to hold the financing for the property while the buyer takes the beneficial legal ownership of it. That doesn't make it much more straightforward, though, does it? Sorry. It's really cool.
It's a very cool seller financing strategy that it's similar to VTB, but I'd say the main difference obviously is the fact with the VTB you're on title, and with an agreement for sale you're not. There's some other slight differences, but without going too much farther into it, if you go scroll up into the videos, look under the tag agreement for sale, or go to Barry McGuire's YouTube channel. A little easier to access the previous videos. Lots of videos on agreement for sale. Also, I dropped my pen. There's home study kits at barrymcguire.ca as well. And you can take the home study kit. But let's get back into her. So January, you're looking at deals, having trouble, then you come into this group and you're like, oh wow, there's this agreement for sale thing, and then just the light bulb clicked, and then okay, let's get into the deal. How did it all come together?
Right. So this deal, I didn't have to market much. This deal came to us through our realtor, and it was in Regina, Saskatchewan, where the realtor said that the seller would be open to creative financing. Now, because he was an investor himself, he does understand the creative financing way. And because he was in a process of just renewing, I think he just renewed about a week or two or so. Mm-hmm. So we both discussed, and we both, I think, came to an agreement that in this situation, agreement of sale works best for both of us, just because he will not hit with the bigger penalty from his bank. And we will still get the property through AFS at the price. Of course, the price negotiation went for about 3 to 4 months, but yeah, that's when it started.
Which is normally the case for multifamily, though, right? It's not as fast as residential. It goes back and forth. There's a lot more due diligence to do as well.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. And so again, they had just renewed their mortgage, and you were helping them from getting a huge mortgage cancellation penalty. Did you ever find out how much that was going to be?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but I'm going to guess close to 20,000 or over, because it's a commercial building, and he had a good chunk of the renewal, the mortgage amount. Mm-hmm. So yeah, looking at that, we both agree that it might be better to use AFS than to me getting the title and then he has to pay the penalty. So yeah.
How did that conversation go? Sorry.
I'm just gonna pen.
Respect.
I just want to interject here that in Saskatchewan, especially, agreements for sale are much more well known. So this is where I was going to challenge Wayne on Sahil's an animal, the way he goes at his investing. It's Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is very comfortable and familiar with agreements for sale. So the negotiating wasn't near what it would be with someone who doesn't understand the value of it. Is that fair?
Don't listen to her. You're an animal.
Come on. Come on.
An animal knows an animal. I know how hard something like that would be. That's why I'm super impressed, because that's so the conversation. Well, let's just ask: was the conversation easy?
So based upon my 10 months of experience, just to answer the question, Saskatchewan versus Alberta, I guess in my case, the investor is living in Calgary, but he still did AFS. So I don't know, should I consider him Saskatchewan? But because he was an investor, he was an investor himself, and he understands that going on a second place on a mortgage or doing an AFS is a creative way to sell your place. So, and I believe he might have done in the past some of the creative ways. So it didn't take me so long to convince, because he was already on the board being an investor. So that we got lucky a little bit there, or not?
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So was that right out of the gates? You guys said, let's do an agreement for sale, or were you guys was that the first conversation, or did it develop into that?
No, we analyzed both options. So we know the AFS is on the table and we acquiring the mortgage is also on the table. So we found both ways, and I calculated what made more sense. Of course, going with the first conventional way, it was like I had to give more down, and I was not wanted to do that. I wanted to keep more in my pocket and maybe down to the road once I fix the rents and get a mortgage for a higher amount, then it might be a better scenario for us. So we analyzed both, took our time, and then we came back on AFS, and he was on board for that.
Alana is asking here, and why did the seller want to sell?
So seller is an active investor. I won't say active investor. He was an investor, and what I understand, he over the last few years, he has been selling his multifamilies in Saskatoon, Regina, all over Saskatchewan, and he's just an older guy. I believe he's looking to retire or dilute his resources.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, you recognize the problem. Obviously, he wanted to sell it, but he couldn't because he's going to get. Well, he could, but he'd get hit with $40,000 of penalties. Is that your pen?
Yes. Can we talk about the property itself?
Sure.
I don't know that we made a big enough deal over the fact that this is like a 12-plex. This is not.
Well, I'm sure people are counting the doors and the windows in the background.
So this is a 12-unit apartment building in Regina, Saskatchewan.
Right. Yeah. So it's a 12-unit building, and we have seen many multiplexes, and usually it gets bigger. It gets rougher. Like some of the buildings are not very well maintained. This is the one building when we saw it, and we both absolutely loved it. We didn't like the price at the time, but every unit was well taken care of. There wasn't any deferred maintenance, and it's right across the Regina Hospital. So we knew there was a high demand, and there was 0% vacancy from last 2 years. So the only factor was the price, but everything on our first viewing of the property, we loved it. And I'm not sure if you can see right now, but the property itself has an opportunity to add additional 12 paid parking in the back, which can increase the NOI even further in future if we plan to do that.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm just getting more and more questions as they're coming in. I just feel like we should answer them as they come. But Scotty wants to know, didn't the seller just renew his mortgage? Why did he renew if he was planning on selling?
Before we come into picture, I believe that aspect was already done. So it was like just he renewed it, and then we come into picture, then like trying to buy it. So I think he missed that opportunity. And of course, even if we would have acquired from day one with commercial, it just takes time. What I understand from CMSC right now, it's going to take about 10 weeks, so about 3 months, just for us to get an answer that, okay, whether we qualify or not. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've got actually all the details here. Did you want me to share my screen on the details of the deal? Is there anything personal in here? I thought maybe I could share it while you guys kind of explain the numbers and stuff like that.
Yep, you can if you want.
Is that okay? Is there anything? All right, I'll do that right now, so everybody can have a visual. Okay, and hopefully everybody can see that there. Okay, so yeah, you can obviously see the 3 pictures up top. And so marketing, obviously you guys got this through your realtor. So you had realtors sending you, and this is an off-market deal.
Yeah, it was an MLS.
Yeah, do you want to kind of go through, the negotiation part of it, and then obviously how you guys got to these numbers and everything else?
Yeah.
So on the of course on the negotiation part, originally he wanted 1.2 million, and that's because that's what he bought in 2014. Now we all know it's a sketch when the market is not any like same anymore because there's so many new builds. So the rent has dropped. So prices has dropped till 2017, and just now it start recovering. Right now, like our appraisal report was close to $1 million, and that was our one of the driving factor why we asked to lower the price because. That's what. Yeah, it
actually was over 1.2. It was 1.27.
Yeah, it was around
really?
1.
Yeah, it was a
1.27.
lot. So he dropped quite a bit from our initial price.
Yeah, and it's not like we want them just because you have to sell now. You have to lower the price. We presented in the case that okay, look, this is the price that makes sense to me. If you want us to acquire the mortgage in 3 years, you have to agree on a price which makes sense to me today. So in 3 years, I can acquire the mortgage with the numbers. So we explained that case. Of course, it took him a while to kind of process it, but that's how we agreed on the price.
Very interesting. Annual cash flow after debt servicing, $5,700. What's that per month?
Yeah, no. So right now the rents are kept low because the property is being self-managed from Calgary itself, and it's. And there was one of the caretaker who was showing the place, so it wasn't professionally managed. All the units rents can be increased, and actually property management is working right now to increase it. We believe on our exit side, the annual cash flow going to be 25,000. Once we fix the rents, and the current numbers is what you see that is as of today when we bought it.
Very, very cool. What was the down payment? What was the down payment for this?
So I paid more money when I bought my primary residence, and I paid about half of it when we bought this building. And my primary house is only like half of it the price. So I paid him 37,000 on closing.
Wow. 37,000
on the closing day.
And we negotiated that as well from a bigger number. And how much was it originally?
Yeah, it's 37,000 on the closing day as a deposit.
So about 3.5%.
Yeah.
Wow, 3.5% down on $1 million property. The cash flow is that much.
And the rent has not been collected yet. We're gonna be working towards 6 to 7 months to bring the rents to the market prices.
That's amazing. The AFS term of 3 years. I'm a little confused. He wasn't okay with 5 years. Did he sign up for a 3-year mortgage?
No. So he wanted to get out of it all sooner. So originally he wanted to do for 2 years. It is being structured for 2 + 1. So the mortgage is right now renewed for 3 years, but the AFS is 2 + 1. And we want to get out of it sooner. Like the plan, how I have is on the year 2 anniversary, we will be in a position to acquire the mortgage where we will need very less capital. And then we want to refinance to pull our money back.
Gotcha.
However, the extra 1 year gives me more time if I want to.
For sure. So the end goal is, I think it's down here. I mean, the exit is that you guys want to buy and you want to keep this thing in your portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to buy and hold on it just because we recognize the cash flow is something we need to come into full-time real estate. So we want to keep this asset in our portfolio.
That's amazing. So what do you guys feel was the most difficult part? Like, did you guys run into any speed bumps or any roadblocks?
How about you, Gaurani?
Well, the negotiation with definitely with our lawyer, was going back and forth. Like our lawyer was kind of scaring us, and then the seller is really experienced, and he's like, this is totally normal. This is how it usually goes. And then good that Sahil actually found you guys, because he was asking a lot of questions. And
so let me start on it. So I want to focus that buying something cheap is not going to always save you money. So I found a lawyer, not what advice from this group, but I found a lawyer because he was cheaper. And I ended up paying 3 times because he thought the seller has about 25% equity. And the lawyer thought that it's a very low equity, so we are at a higher risk. And meanwhile, in your group, I'm looking like many investors are closing deals with low equity or no equity left and right. So I said, there has to be a way. If the guys are doing here, there has to be a way. So we speak with some of the investors in this group, and I asked some questions in the group, and I found out that there's a ways around how you can do it. And we took an action, and later we found out that 25% is actually a good amount of equity. I don't know why it was highlighted as low.
Yeah, and that's just comes down to experience, right? It's not to say that the lawyer was doing anything wrong. They just weren't experienced in this. This wasn't their expertise. And I wish Barry were here to say it, but I've never had a good phone call with a lawyer. Never have I got off the phone and been like, lawyers aren't there to like pump you. I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea. No, that's perfect. No, that works totally. The lawyer is supposed to tell you all the reasons why what could potentially happen, and that's their job, right? And in some ways, it doesn't always. You get off the phone and you're like, there's 10 more reasons why not to than when you picked up the phone. But that's what they're there for, is to protect you in that respect and to make sure that you're covered. And they're shining a light on all your vulnerabilities, and then it's your responsibility to go and mitigate those risks. Donna.
In defense of lawyers, I have a soft spot for lawyers.
Yes.
A lawyer. I think what it comes down to, Sahil and I have had this conversation, is Sahil didn't necessarily go with the lawyer that I knew understood agreements for sale. He was looking at the price tag. And so when it comes to creative strategies, it really is important to realize that you get what you pay for, or you get what you don't pay for. It's another level of expertise and knowledge. So that when they're telling you the things that could go wrong, do they understand the things that could go right? So as you're choosing a lawyer, please ask if they're familiar with these strategies. Have they done these deals before? Because here's a guy that's all ready to go, Sahil and Irina, and their lawyers, more than one, poo-pooed the deal. So, I mean, it's a good deal. You have willing parties. That's the most important thing right there. So you want to find a can-do if you can. And
I mean, we walked away that night. I was like,
we walked away a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm a paranoid
really?
person to begin with. For me, every number has to be online. Otherwise, like I'm scared. And when I'm speaking with a lawyer, he was saying that the seller has a low equity. After you give your 3.5% deposit, he may not have an intention to pay the mortgage, right? And what things can go wrong. So, like Irina, I think it may not work. I think the lawyer is saying that he might be right. Let's first walk away. Let's find something else. And then again, we talked to a few more investors and said, okay, there is a ways around how you can still do it. And then we come to life, the deal again, start the negotiation on the table next day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the seller was really good too. He was always working with us, also reassuring Sahil and teaching him things too, like new things that we also learn from him.
Yeah.
So the realtor, so they were obviously experienced in agreement for sales.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say he many things that I didn't know that I got to know from him. And I reviewed all the agreement of sale, like the template that my lawyer provided, went through each and every point, and I did ask him question, what happens this, what happened in this case. So yeah, from lawyer and the realtor itself, I did learn. And from the seller perspective, anytime we had a concern, we didn't like it, we went back to the seller, said, okay, this is my concern. And we try to think of like how we can solve it so you feel more comfortable.
I have a question about the realtor. Did you pay the realtor a commission for this deal?
No.
No, we did not. I think it's. I don't know where it's gonna come from. We did not.
Oh, of course it would be the seller, but out of their $37,000, they also have to pay the realtor.
Yeah, I don't know how it will work. It was an off-market listing on MLS that they call the pocket listing, right? For in a realtor sum, and yeah, they're gonna be still some commission for sure. It may not gonna be same as for the listing for the MLS, but yeah, there has to be seller must have paid something for sure.
I'm certain that there's a ton of people watching this right now, and there's a ton of people that are going to be watching this in the future that are going to hate your guts. Because I know there's a lot of people that are trying this. They're really trying, and they're still struggling. So, now that you've got some experience, like, what advice would you give to new investors who are trying out this strategy?
I think I'll let Irina first go with it.
I think just take a chance, look for that right deal, start working on it, because until you actually go full in on it, you'll never do it. And for us, we walked away almost so many times that now we know if you see the right deal and everything is lined up and it's good, just go for it. Don't back out just because of fear.
Yeah. I would say having the right knowledge and then recognizing the opportunity. And the last point is
Have the right
take
team.
the action. I stuck on the last point. I may acquire the knowledge over the time. I recognize the opportunity, but I'm just too scared to take an action. And when that part comes, Irina gives me some encouragement. No, we have to do it. This is a good opportunity. Numbers does make sense. Let's put out the offer, and we'll deal as we grow.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that people have the right team, like the right real estate lawyer, the agent. Everything has to work out with that. You have a good relationship with those people too. That'll make it so much easier in the end.
That's some great tips right there. And you were saying that Irina was motivating you or inspiring you to move forward. I like the couples dynamic. I love it. I think it's super important. So both of you guys are 100% on board, working together every day.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I'm more of a big picture guy, unless it has to do with the dishes. And Irina is more of a day-to-day. Like she will manage the deal day-to-day, or every morning I wake up 9 a.m. and I see there's 5 more listings that Irina sent me on WhatsApp. I'll be reviewing that. Yeah,
That's amazing. So you guys complement each other very well. Yeah. We Donna, obviously you and Barry talk a lot about the one damn deal, right? And it's just that one damn deal, and then you'll start to notice more opportunities, and you'll find that all of the other deals after you get that one, they're all extremely easy after the fact. What's next for you guys now? Now that you've done one and all those fears are gone and all those uncertainties, are you guys just like, are you looking at deals differently now?
we are looking every day. So
Every day.
I'm looking for deals. If anybody listening or in future listening to this, please send me deals. my realtor, of course, now know that we were serious. We want to get bigger. So, and now I'm not only looking at the deals where the seller has equity, where he can give me the second mortgage. I'm also open to look on the deals where the seller can do AFS. And now, of course, I know how to teach them because I learned through the AFS home kit. I can better educate my real estate agent as well as the seller that why it's in his best interest to give me seller financing in form of AFS. So yes, opportunities has expand, and we are actively looking. And we might be doing our first accidental landlord property that we had, single family home. We might be doing a rent to own opportunity for that one this summer.
Nice. That's awesome. So you clearly, you didn't take the course right away. You just went and you figured out the agreement for sale, and then you took the home study kit afterwards. What else did you learn later on when you took the home study kit that you didn't know before?
So I think the insurance aspect I'd look at. So on the insurance side, I was added as the contact person. And after learning this part, I think Neil made a very good point, and Neil corrected one of the other investors that you should be added as a payee, as a lost payee. So I made that change actually last Friday, and now I'm added as a lost payee. And the second thing I think the best I love is the how you guys do not use the term AFS or RTO and still convince the seller to I love that aspect. And I think
I actually used it with our tenants in Regina, and we used to see a lot of rent-to-own videos from you guys, so like, we'll give it a shot, and we tried it out just that way too, and they're interested now.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's there's a lot to explain, and you know, these strategies are unconventional. It's not something that people talk about all the time. So you start throwing out words and stuff like that and confusing people. Sometimes it's easier just to kind of take it in slowly and rather than confusing them. We got a bunch of questions in here. I was just going through them here. Does the AFS need to be paid in full to get the ownership? Do you want to answer this, Donna?
That's kind of a double-edged question there. As soon as you sign the agreement for sale documents, you become the owner. The buyer becomes the legal owner, and the final how would you say it? When the agreement for sale matures, that's when the actual title changes hands, if that's what you mean by ownership. But you have all the benefits and all the obligations of ownership before you get the name or title in your name, because you have the agreement for sale document.
So the seller is carrying the financing in their name, and also they're still on title for the duration of the agreement for sale term. And so, like Donna said, you get all the benefits of ownership, appreciation, you know, your financing, mortgage pay down, cash flow, that kind of stuff, for a period of time. And then at the end of the term, you're responsible or obligated to close. And that could be either selling the property, or that could be closing on it, so getting your own financing. Yeah.
So now with this being a commercial, when it comes time to actually close for the AFS to mature, it's just a matter of your rents will be raised. You can then obtain financing based on that, as opposed to having to qualify the same way as you did with the house you live in right now, for example.
Exactly, yeah. And we run the numbers to a mortgage broker already when we were analyzing the both options. I know exactly, if I go today, how much loan to ratio value I can get on the current rents. And he advised that once you will increase the rents, this is exactly you can get. So I have those numbers, and we are working towards a plan. Of course, my numbers are more on the conservative side, because I always want to be a paranoid person. I'd rather be surprised than to be scared on the time when the AFS mature.
Okay, so the goals are you need to raise the rents, is what you're saying.
If I will increase the rents,
yeah,
which we can, like not increase but bring to the market rents, at the time of the AFS, I may get a check or do not have to do anything at the time of the maturity. If we leave it to the current rents, then at the time of the closing, we may have to come up with less than 5%, which is doable. We have our plan B and C in line. But yeah, our A plan is, once we address the rents, once the AFS term is closer to the maturity, we will be coming with a very low or no funds.
So obviously there's going to be some people in here who don't understand agreement for sale, and they also don't understand multifamily. So what you're saying is that by increasing the rents, you're increasing the value of the property?
Yeah. So the property right now is being appraised at 4.75 cap rate. Let's say we use 5.25 cap rate. Once the property rental income going to be increased, expenses are same, the NOI increase. And whenever the NOI increase, the asset worth increases more.
Right. And now with that new appraised value, and you're going to be getting new financing at 80 or 75% loan to value, and then you have your existing financing, what you're saying is the amount owing will be less than, okay, maybe you can explain, I can't put my words together. Basically, it'll have so much in the new financing that it'll pay off the old financing plus your money, and then potentially you might not have any money investment left in it.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's exactly what I said. Yeah.
Irina wants to know: was it a turnkey property or building, or or it was needed to do some reno on all units or partially reno?
So,
What condition? Okay, there's two questions. Okay, so what was the condition of the property?
So it was really well maintained, the whole property. Most of the units have minor renovations already done. Most of the bathrooms were done. Like not every single unit, but almost every unit has some work done already. So they were really well maintained.
Nice. And what conditions did you write on the purchase contract?
A lot. Anything in the specific that they may want to know for in terms or conditions, interest rates, or
was there anything of value that maybe you can explain other than just like the standard conditions?
No, I guess we wrote all the standard template that what I see in the manual when I was watching the home study kit. Nothing extraordinary out of there. Just the term is about 2 + 1 in combined of 3 years. And the interest rate is about 3.25. Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious. Multifamily is not my expertise. It's the one thing that I have not touched. And I'm curious because normally I wouldn't touch something I don't understand. And I cringed a little bit when I heard that you guys were doing an agreement for sale on a multifamily. And so what do you think? I'm curious about what you think. Is this something that someone should jump into? Well, you guys have taken some mentorship on multifamily, but do you recommend someone jumps into agreement for sale without the experience or without any education?
So I do want to focus that before we did we triggered the AFS on this deal, I did understand how to analyze in a multifamily. I understand the cap rates. I understand the whole NOI aspect of it. So, and reason why I wanted to go multifamily, because I think we decided we want to do it passively. We want to hire a property management who can take it. In order to buy something, maybe a single family, based upon deals that I was looking at, maybe I was looking at the wrong deals, but the property management did not accommodate it in the cash flow of a single family. And anything like 6 plexes or above in Regina, we were looking, we can afford to have a property management and still have some cash flow while we wait for the term. And that was completely possible with this 12 plex. And back in my head, I was like, I want to either go bigger or go home. I think I do want to stay in multifamily for now. Maybe in future, once I understand more of a rent-to-own aspect of it, maybe we'll then tackle the single family.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So Wayne, you must appreciate that. Irina and Sahil have a model.
Yes.
Before they got started.
Yes.
They've defined their ideal model, and that's what they're working towards, which is something we talked about in our One Damn Deal Action Challenge. Because the very first thing was figure out what you're looking to do here. How do you want it to look? So good for you. That's good.
Yes, I admire that a lot. I think one of the many key things that people get stuck on is that they just don't know what they want, and you guys have a clear focus, and that's good. I like it. I'm just going through all these questions here. What motivation did the seller have to sell at that price and using AFS strategy?
Like I said, seller is a older age, and he's looking to dilute his he have sold multiple multifamily properties in last 4 or 5 years. So just slowly gonna get rid of his multifamily, maybe looking to retire or something.
Scotty wants to know, are you going to do the RTO before you take that course as well?
That's the pattern, yeah.
I don't know the answer of this question.
We'll find out end of this month.
I would highly encourage, do not go how we did it, because we had some sort of training. Always take the course first, try all aspect, because it can also go sideways if you do not understand the full aspect.
Yeah.
Take the RTO or the AFS course, understand all aspect of it, and then pursue, especially if you want to go bigger.
Mm-hmm. And do like them. Figure out what it is that you're going to focus on. Focus on one thing. Spend a couple $100, a few $100 on the education, and just stick directly with that. Don't go all over the place, going course to course to course to course, or trying to do something for free. Just you got to invest a little bit in yourself and Absolutely. Stay focused.
Well, it's so much more than just course. I mean, the group, the focus team, there was quite a bit of support there, I think, too, with just helping you through. So
I do want to add, I do want to add one point on Donna's last point. So you do get access to a group. It's called Barry McGuire's Student Success Group. And you won't believe there's a certain questions. If you will just search a word, let's say caveat, insurance, you will find posts all the way from 2020. And somewhere at the deal must have encountered the same situation and they have answered it. I have found that personally so helpful that sometimes I don't even have to ask a question. I can just search there.
That's awesome.
And somebody already answered it. So I'm not reinventing anything. It's been already discussed.
Yeah, that group is specifically just past students. Obviously, this is a public group, and a lot of people come in and they kind of poke around from here to time. And I always say, if you have a serious question and you're a student, go to the Student Success Group and get it answered there, as opposed to getting it answered from the public here. Sean Impey says, a nice burr, or is it R? What's the A stand for? Am I missing it? Oh, I'm missing the joke.
Maybe it's for agreement for sale.
Yeah, maybe I'm
scrolling down to see if he's writing it. Okay, I have land in AFS. That's interesting. Danielle says that she has land in agreement for sale.
AFS.
AFS equals A. Okay. I get it. Thank you, Sean.
Very funny, Sean.
Leslie, if this property has no vacancies over the last 2 years, how many units of the 12 do you ultimately expect to become vacant and be able to improve during the 3-year term?
So, of course, there was no vacancy because the rents were kept so low. When the rents are low, tenants like to stick. So it's 0% vacancy. Now we're going to start bringing up the units back to the market rent, and we're not going to kick anyone off. We have a lot of time. Right now, when we closed, one unit just got vacant 12 days before that. So we are marketing that unit. We started at 900 and we potentially found somebody at about 825. And I have my numbers, $100 lower than that for all the units. And
nice.
Anything above is gravy to me. So I'm happy camper when we sign that lease. And yeah. And I do not evacuate, I do not plant any units to evict them to increase the rents. As the lease expire, we work with our property management to increase the rents.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I might have missed this earlier, but did you say why the rents were lower? Why they were under market value?
So it is being self-managed by the seller, and he is based in Calgary. And there was one guy who lives in one of the units. He was a caretaker, and he was also cleaning. He was also doing the viewings. So when you do the self-manage, in most cases, what I see, the rents are the sellers may not understand what's the current market rents and what they can do to attract more tenants at a market price rents.
You would assume that an owner. You go.
Self-managing from a distance, the value of keeping current tenants is worth it to not have to try and
there are some of the ones that are really, really low rent. Those are the tenants that have been there for a while now. So he probably just left them alone and just didn't want to deal with vacancy at that point because they were doing self-managing. So it's hard if you we're doing it for a residential property. And it's not easy to find just even one unit, never mind 12.
Yeah. But we have a single family home there as well that we are self-managing from here. And I don't care. I can get $150 rent lower because it's easier not for me to make a visit there or ask my family to go there. So when you're self-managing out of province, it's just less headache that I'd rather get a little bit less money on rent than to deal with vacancy.
Yeah, Scott was asking why wouldn't the owner just raise the rents and then sell at a higher price? Obviously, that explains it.
Hey, Scotty, we're gonna one of these days bring in an AFS seller, and you can ask them all the questions because all your questions are focused at why the seller did. But you don't try to guess.
You don't.
Sorry.
You don't. Sellers do what sellers do. But the trick is trying to get that information, right? And it's trying to get that as quickly as possible and trying to figure out what is it that motivates them. Why are they not just doing that? Because if you can recognize a problem like this, You can offer a solution, as opposed to just trying to stuff this cool strategy down their throat. All the reasons why they should do it. You're going to save $50,000 and look at this. You're going to look, you can defer your taxes and everything else. Focus on them. We have a long message here that I didn't read through, but I'll read it. After signing up AFS, if you changed your mind to buy yourself, can you legally sell it? Or you have to buy the property yourself first and then refinance it? I'm looking for a comma. It refines it after. Legal terms, would you resell it later when the market increases, or is that possible to refinance right after? I think that to summarize it, do you have to close on it first to sell it, or can you, while you have it under contract with agreement for sale, do you have the option to sell it?
So, I wasn't sure if this question for us. Yes, we have an option to sell our assignment, it's called, I think. And yes, you can exit in multiple ways. Let's say tomorrow, if I change my mind, if I decide to go live some other country, we can sell our assignment before we wait for the AFS maturement term. But as I said, my exit is I want to close this one and add this asset to our portfolio. So I will be most likely acquiring the mortgage and then again refinancing it to pull the money out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you would need either when you're signing the documents to sell it, the title holder. Correct me if I'm wrong, Donna. The title holder is the one that has to sign the documents. So there's you can either have the seller sign those documents for you, or get a power of attorney and sign on their behalf. Do you have a rental board governance in Saskatchewan that restricts rent increases? I'm in Ontario and it's a total drag here.
No, there in Saskatchewan, you can increase the rents to whatever you like. It just has to be on a certain time frame. Like you have to give them a certain amount of time, like advance, but you can increase it to whatever price you want.
And I usually will rely on that kind of knowledge to my property management, which is why I hired them, because I know there's certain legal obligations that they have to provide a certain days of notice before they increase the rent if they're on a fixed term, and if they're on a month to month, then it's a different strategy. So I rely on these cases with our property management, and we do have the time to achieve that.
Nice. On the topic of rent increase, Sean MB says a rent increase of $50 a month per suite will increase the value of the property by $120,000. It's huge. It's huge.
I'm calling you, Sean, right after this. This chat.
Yeah, that's a lot of money back in your pocket when you go to refinance. He says, assuming a 6% cap rate. Who's screening your tenants now since you signed AFS? Do you find with a low rent tenants to get a high quality professionals or essential workers? Oh, you had mentioned your property manager, right?
Yeah. Property management is taking care of all this aspect. They have a screening process and all the standard background check, criminal check, credit check.
What is your tenant profile for the building?
So what we have seen, a lot of people who live there because it's right across the hospital. So I think we identify a few tenants who are living there actually work in the hospital.
As
there's different
different types of hospital workers, like from nursing to technicians, but there's quite a few of them in there.
Very, very, very cool. Well, Donna, I think that's all the questions. Did you have any additional questions or any closing thoughts?
I think they got covered.
Yeah, it's $37,000 for a $1 million property, and I believe. What did you determine? You got it for just a little under market value, but it's low rents. You're going to increase the rents. You're going to burr this thing, get all your money back out, and you got this thing for 3 years. It's amazing. That's really amazing, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope we'll connect back again in 3 years to speak with the actual numbers as well.
Absolutely.
There we
I
go.
have a feeling that you guys, this is not the last deal that you're going to be doing. I have a feeling you guys are going to definitely find some more. But yeah, congratulations, guys. I don't. Sorry. Oh, we already asked that question. Yeah. This is pretty amazing. And okay, Stacey Swain says great stuff, guys. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, if you guys do have any additional questions, if you're watching this after the live, you can just put it in the comments. Do you guys mind keeping an eye on that and maybe answering the questions if anyone else has any more?
Sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you guys, and thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, all.